Garrett Surd, my friend, my brother, owner of Tandem Nutrition. What's up, dude? So glad you're here.
I am so excited.
Yeah,
to
dude,
be
we haven't
here.
done one in a while.
This is like my second one with you. It's been a
Only
long
second? I thought we did. I don't know.
maybe
Maybe third. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a couple years since we hopped on the pod. So your
Yeah.
business has done really well since then. So, you're from Tandem Nutrition. Tell me about what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we're an online women's fat loss company. So one cool thing about what we do is like everything we do with our clients, they're strictly virtual, online training, online coaching. So we specialize in helping women specifically, and we have a very unique approach called phasic dieting.
Phasic dieting.
Phasic
All
dieting.
right.
Yeah, that I'm excited that I'm really excited about because it's really proven to help women not only lose body fat, but really teaches them how to keep it off for life, which has been like my life goal to figure out for like last
Right.
16 years. So really excited about that.
16 years.
Yeah. Well, 16.
So half of your life, pretty much.
Well, when I was 16 years old, I had a really bad eating disorder.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
And that lasted like 10 years.
Mhm.
But it was that time when I was 16 where like I just devoted my life to like, I got to figure like nutrition and fitness and health and how to gain muscle mass out. And so, dedicated my life to that. Went to, undergrad, grad school, became a dietitian, and eventually started my business, which led to me, working 10 years now into this industry and developing phasic dieting after spending, working with thousands of people, trying to figure out how to re-increase the metabolism after you diet.
So you guys have more before and after pictures than anybody I've ever seen. Meaning, to me, that says you guys are doing well. So why are you guys doing so well? I know you're going to say coaches, but what like system do you have in place? Is it the phasic dieting? Like, is that your proprietary approach, or is it good business systems?
Man, everything that we have here at Tandem, it's definitely from, I give all the credit to God for everything He's done, and I think it's one is we just love our people. We love our people more than as much as we can, and we try to give an excellent service. I think that's what really helps our community is when you just know that you love and care for them. They always come back and they tell their friends about what you do. And I think that's probably the biggest thing with us is just how close we are and like the relationships we build with our clients.
Okay. And I know you're specifically women now. It wasn't always like that though, right?
Yeah. So when I started out in 2012, I had no clue how to build a business.
That's 11 years ago, by the way.
It seems like yesterday, but man, so we try to work with everyone. And I did that for 3 years and I failed the business. I wrote a letter to the state, dissolved the business.
Oh, yeah.
And then I brought it back the same year. And I'm like, okay, then I hired my first mentor in 2017. After our first mentor, we tripled our business after the first 3 months. I'm like, yo, there's something here with this mentor thing. And ever since then, man, we've been like learning from people because, man, like it's been such a helpful like situation to be able to learn from others who are already where you want to be.
Who have done what you,
Yeah.
I know that it seems like every time we talk to you, you're obviously talking to your mentors. You just went to a retreat, a month or two ago?
Yeah. Yep.
How was that?
Man, it was incredible. First mastermind event I ever went to was in Cancun. I've never even been to Cancun, Mexico before. It was like a 3-day event in Cancun, and our next one is in Toronto. So I'm going to bring most of our team, so our account manager and our sales staff to Toronto in June. So super excited about that. But yeah, man, the cool thing is they give great knowledge. The people that you meet and what you learn from them throughout those times, it just makes the biggest difference. It's all about people and relationships, man, which is why I love what you're doing and why we've always stayed connected. Like you're one of the few people in my life who just reach out like, hey man, like how are you doing? I'm like, bro, he cares. I love this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I owe you one. I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but we had a conversation. We worked out in, what was that? Maybe December or no, it was probably October actually. I was like, hey man, I've been drinking too much. I've been drinking too much whiskey. And you asked the most profound question that truly changed the trajectory of like what I was doing. Now, I wasn't like one of those, like my life's falling apart. I just wasn't feeling good about myself. And I just it was in a cycle, have a whiskey at night, And you said, what's your life look like in a year from now if you don't change that? And I was like, nailed me. Wow. And I haven't had a sip of whiskey since then.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, Jimmy. Great job.
Hey, thanks, man. Don't get me wrong. I still like beer. I'll still drink. But I did go a couple months without drinking and just kind of reset my relationship with it.
Good.
And anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that because that was that question. And I use that question all the time now. And so what I've been thinking is like, I bet that question came from him learning how to be a really good coach, because that's really good coaching.
It was part of the strategy, yeah, as far as like motivation interviewing.
Hmm.
Part of just
Hmm.
getting people to change their behavior and think differently.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So is that a common one to use? What else? What else? How else can we change my life?
As far as like
Yeah. Well,
strategies,
yeah. Well, that's a great question.
yeah.
What other kind of questions can people ask themselves
Mm.
to make a change?
Oh, I love this question. So the first thing that I always ask with clients, and even my own mentor, that so I have a couple of different mentors. I have a lifestyle mentor. Quick background: it's so he basically helped me build Tandem the first 2-3 years. Then kind of switch roles. He has 10 kids now. He's
Whoa.
fallen off track, right? Like whiskey, like beer at nighttime, and like snacks. And now he's like 40-50 pounds overweight.
Okay.
And so now I'm really pouring into him now.
Man, I'm struggling with 2.
Yeah, well, he has 10. It's crazy, dude. Anyway, I love the guy. I'm like, dude, I would never give up on you
Yeah.
because without him, Tandem would not be where it's at today. But so the first question, so what I know about behavior change is that unless we change our mind and our thinking, we can't change our habits and behavior,
Okay.
right? And so one of the first strategies I do with clients is I help them imagine outside of their why behind what's going to drive their behavior and why they want this specific, physique or outcome is. I want them to describe in detail what their best future self looks like,
Okay.
because if we can understand what that looks like and what that person's doing, how they're behaving, and how that's pulling them in the direction of changing their habits in a positive way, we can understand and break that down towards like what are the daily habits this person's doing to get there.
I was just gonna say that I recently have been asking myself, my wife, what does your perfect day look like as far as like how you live it, like your perfect healthy day where you're happy, healthy, you do whatever work you want to do. What does that perfect day look like? I repeat that every day.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And so like just taking that granular approach just can change like the trajectory of where, people get in these downward spirals.
Yeah.
You can also get in an upward spiral, right? Do a few things right every single day. You start noticing you're going up.
Yes.
So I love that you talk about like that future self casting. I love
Yeah.
that.
Hey, I love, if you don't mind sharing, as a high performer, I'd love to hear what is your perfect day? Like,
Oh man.
what makes a perfect day perfect for you?
So my perfect day starts the night before, right? Of
Ooh,
course.
so good.
As with anybody's perfect day should start the night before. I take all my supplements, I get good sleep, my son doesn't wake me up. So perfect days don't happen a lot. But then I wake up about 5:10. I get up, I read Proverbs, I read my books, get the kids ready, I go work out, come back, wife makes breakfast and coffee, and then I get to work, and then just the rest of the day is mine to do with what I please. Right. So whatever that looks like
Perfect.
can be different from day to day, but that, the way I start and end my day is 100% the most important part.
So if someone was struggling to find out like how do I make my perfect day, like what should I have in a day, like what advice would you give them based on your experiences of getting ready the night before, getting up in the morning, like what advice would you give to someone? Because I'm always looking to learn to change
Mhm.
things to optimize my habits.
Um, I think thinking in levers, like what levers can you pull that'll move the most weight with the least amount of effort? And I think the same way with like supplements. I know you're not really big on supplements, but if this can move the needle for me and it's not anything dangerous to myself, I'll spend the money on that.
100%.
I'll take that chance because the upside is there and the downside isn't. So
Mm,
these are like unequal
yeah.
bets, right? Um, I just got off the question. What was it?
Basically, if someone's wanting to optimize their day,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what advice, but you said so lever. So what is your
yeah.
biggest lever in the morning?
The sleep the night before.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. People are looking for like the best fat loss supplement in the world. I'm like, yo, the most underrated supplement for fat loss and health is sleep.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
people want to take, and I'm actually a big fan of. I don't talk about supplements, but I'm a big fan of supplements.
Mhm.
And so, but no, I agree. Sleep is so
Yeah.
important.
So I have 2 young children. I haven't gotten good sleep. I've been abusing sleep since I can remember. So my focus now is I know I'm not going to get enough sleep, but I'm working on mastering my sleep that I do get.
Ooh,
Right. So I'll get like 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, but
okay.
it's mostly like deep recovery sleep. If you look at my Whoop this morning, I had 2 hours of REM sleep
Wow,
out of 5 hours and
that's
50
huge,
something minutes of sleep.
man.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just research and learning. But anyway, the levers that we can pull. I find the biggest return on the smallest investment. Just
Yes.
like anything, anything I do is what's the biggest return I can get with the smallest amount of time, energy, money that I can get back on that.
Love that.
So that's mine. It also is like framing, I think, is big. So I start with, depending on where I'm at, like what season I'm in for that week or day or whatever, I'll start with books. I'll start with like YouTube videos. It just depends on how I need to prime myself for whatever's coming up in the day.
Mm.
But framing my mornings and framing the beginning of my day, like I know whenever I roll out of bed slothful, it's gonna be like not my best day.
Right.
So if I hit it hard with whatever gets my frame of mind right, then it usually ends up working better.
I love that. So it's like you're almost setting the intention for that day, especially the night before, understanding, hey, this is what I need to do to make sure I'm good. By the way, that's a ton of REM sleep. Dude. Like that's amazing.
Yeah,
And like my average like 48 minutes, and you're getting like double that.
yeah. It's I'll show you. It's this Whoop band is awesome. What do you track with?
So I track with a Fitbit.
Fitbit. Okay. Okay, I got 6 hours and 3 minutes of sleep, 3 hours and 7 minutes of restorative sleep. So an hour and 3 minutes of deep sleep, 2 hours and 4 minutes of REM sleep.
That is incredible.
Right?
Good job.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it starts with that. What else? I don't know. Just content diet is good. That's a big one. That's kind of like right along the line of framing. So whatever you put into your brain, just like your body, you're gonna get back.
100%.
So you put garbage in, you're just gonna get garbage out.
Yep.
That's just how it goes. But yeah, well, I mean, what do you have people do for behavior change? Like, what can we do? What are those levers for you?
Man, just like you said too, the night before is so important. And I read a book, The One Thing, and it talked about how like you can improve your productivity by like 163% if you write out your 3 most important tasks the night before, because not only do you know what to do right when you get up, but they're already kind of like churning in your subconscious. So like you kind of already kind of get to work on them and solve those problems. And
I have that book. It's right behind you, and I haven't read it.
Bro, it is a game changer.
Yeah, okay.
It's so good. It's so good. But I would other say too, man, like one of the most important things for me is getting up at the time I tell myself I'm gonna get up.
That's a big one.
Because here's the deal: if you say like I'll just put this off, if that's your first decision of the day, I'm more likely to say later to 15 other things happening after that.
Yeah,
because like momentum is so powerful.
I can't tell you how many days that I start and like don't actually start my work day until like 2:30, and it's like, that's not good.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is changing your mindset, just like diet, right? People think that, man, I've had one bad meal, I messed up the day. It's kind of like you have one flat tire and you just like puncture the rest, right? So
it's a good metaphor.
One good thing is like just frame the perspective of your day, right? So let's say you didn't have the best morning, and that's okay because you still have 1 till 3, right? That you can like master, right? And then because your entire day is not, because all we have is this moment here. Like the past doesn't exist, and the future doesn't exist, and we create our reality from our current action behavior. So we can't get upset, we can't get anxious. So that's one big thing I focus on in the morning is my mindset, like getting to the word or like praying and just like getting away from social media too, just because if you start digging into social, I am really guilty of just being terrible with like comparing myself to others and these bigger, huger guys who are much more successful than me. I'm like, okay, this doesn't exist, and so it's very important just to start off in a very positive mindset that's very neutral.
So whenever somebody comes to you, like, who are you seeing? Are you seeing people that are extremely overweight? Are you seeing people that just want to make small changes, adjustments, women that have just had a baby? Like, what's your most common client?
Yeah, so our most common client is a mom who's 35 or 40 years old with 1 or 2 kids, who has between 20 and 40 pounds to lose, and she's married and she has a sedentary job.
Sounds like you've written this down.
Yeah, we have a lot of conversations, and I mean, it's like yesterday I had a client from our community join us, and she has like no weight to lose, but she just wants to radically change her body composition.
Okay.
And so there's more extremes with that, but more often than not, it's the 40-year-old woman who wants to lose 20 pounds, be healthier, and more energetic for her kids.
Yeah. Okay. And then how do they get started with you? I want to learn, like, what's your process? Like, I'm guessing that a a lot of women are probably like right on the cusp of thinking, should I get a coach? Should I not get a coach? I can do this myself. I can just look up on Google.
Yeah.
Like, what usually gets people over the hump?
Of like,
Taking the leap.
man, to be honest with you, the reason why we have so many women in their 35 who are 35 and 40 more than anyone else is because up until that time, I believe that most people think they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
So first 20, 30 years, like, I got this, I can do it on my own. Then finally they get this place in life where like, man, I really can't do this. And now like my future health and my time with my family is being affected. And if I don't do something now, I may not be here in 30 years.
That's interesting.
And so now they take action.
Mm-hmm.
And so the very first thing we do is, it's our program is like super high touch. I get on every single sales call. We call them discovery calls with our clients, and it's like an hour-long call. And if someone's not a good fit, we don't even talk about pricing options. Yeah. I'm just here to see if like what your goals are, what you're struggling with, and even if you're a good fit for our program. And then if they are, we go into the onboarding process of we take a deep dive and assessment with our clients and understand really what their needs are. And we have a special macro calculator that we developed because we work with so many women. We kind of know already how to make. One thing that's interesting is like, okay, so one of my pet peeves is a couple things. Number one, a lot of people come to like a nutrition coach and they say, hey man, like can you give me like my calorie macro goal? And like what they don't understand is that that's just like one piece of the entire puzzle, because your starting calorie goal is not your ending calorie goal.
Right.
And it's important to understand that dieting decreases our metabolism. And the number one reason why so many people are stuck in this vicious cycle of yo-yo dieting is because people don't take time to re-increase their metabolism once they're done.
So you're talking about this with the thyroid?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that happen to the thyroid, especially if women like tank carbs. Like our brains use 120 grams of carbs per day. If you combine that with a high stress lifestyle, low carb diet, I mean, that's a recipe for losing muscle mass and really adapting your metabolism to a very, very low level. And so anyway, we just get to know the client from, start to finish. And one thing that calorie calculators do not take into account, and at least to my knowledge, yet they haven't, is past dieting history. Because women in their 35 or 40, they spent most of their time dieting their life, right? And they probably lost 30, 40 pounds, gained it back. And so those calculators are not going to be accurate to them because their metabolism has been adapted to a lower level. And so we take that into account as we kind of start their journey.
So people need to understand that their metabolism is like it's a moving goalpost. It's not going to be the same. I think people understand, I have a slow metabolism, I have a fast metabolism. Maybe there's different things hormonally going on there, but you're saying that, no, you don't, like, you're not just stuck with that. You can make changes to your lifestyle, your eating habits, your sleeping habits to adjust those. Is that right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yes.
And they adjust whether you like it or not.
Correct. Yeah. And sometimes people love to push the needle as far as like dieting too much, not getting enough sleep, not eating enough protein, not even weightlifting. And that just, again, that causes that thermostat to throttle down.
I really want to talk about this. Weightlifting.
Okay. I love this topic.
For women. Okay. I don't want to look like a man. You hear it all the time. Like, why do people think that? And what's the truth?
The reason why so many women think that they would look like a man is because they're, the acknowledgement that there's different hormonal profiles between men and women. So the reason, I don't even like to say this, but I've been like weightlifting for like 20 years. And if I'm this skinny, and I've been weightlifting for 20 years, trust me, you're not going to get huge, right? Because like most men have a testosterone level of like 400 to 800, right? And women have much, much less testosterone. And so their ability to gain muscle mass is much lower. Even with PCOS, right? Their test levels are a little higher.
PCOS.
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a hormone disorder in which there's a cyst on the ovaries for women. And so that's characterized by insulin resistance and higher androgen levels. So these women tend to have more, they can gain muscle mass. Like there's been a lot of times that I get on calls with women and they say, look, I can gain muscle mass really quickly. And I believe that. Like, and I don't know what that means to them, but like, I believe when they say that, but not to what I think it would look like.
Yeah, it's just kind of like also with like guys. Yeah, I would do that, but I don't want to get too big. Like, bro, you got a lot of work to do to get there. Shut your mouth. I've been working forever. I still got chicken legs. But we'll so continue with the thyroid
Yeah. So
or the metabolism regulation and how it relates to women weightlifting, that kind of stuff.
yeah. So the number, like I went on a story yesterday and said that if a woman who's starting a fat loss diet, if they just have time for one activity, whether cardio or weightlifting, always choose weightlifting, because weightlifting is the only exercise that will have a positive impact on metabolism because of its impact on muscle. Because what many people don't realize is that there's a strong correlation between muscle and metabolism. And the more muscle mass we have, the higher our metabolic rate will be. And it's interesting because people think that as we get age, as we get older, that we just naturally gain weight. But the reason why weight tends to increase as we get older, it's not because our metabolic rate just decides to slow down. It's we become less active.
Right.
So I'm in this period of life right now where I ask myself this question: is what I'm doing right now, can I maintain this when I'm 65 or 70? Because here's the deal: my mentor, who has 10 kids, he loves to like do strong man activities in his basement. I'm like, okay, first off, you're a financial advisor. I'm not sure if your family or your clients require you to be this strong. Like, that's not really needed, right? So if you can't maintain what you're doing now for the rest of your life, guess what happens? Like, your muscle declines because muscle mass it's a threat to our survival because it requires a lot of energy to maintain.
Right.
And your brain's main goal is to keep you alive.
Right.
And
that comes in dieting as well, right?
Even in story brand, like you and I talked about, like when you're trying to message or create copy for a client or for our audience, you got to make it as simple as possible. Or the person going to waste brain energy, like I mentioned before. Like, our brain uses 120 grams of glucose a day to function. And if someone gets confused, you lose them. In the same way, if we don't stay consistent with weight training over time, we can absolutely lose muscle mass as well.
Right. And then that, like you said, the more muscle mass you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by not weightlifting, you're slowing your own metabolism down. Is that?
Yeah. Well, you are. Yeah, if you're not, so let's say if you never weightlifted, you're not maximizing the opportunity to maintain a faster metabolism.
Okay.
And if you weightlifted like in your 20s and 30s and you stop, then you're just allowing for a faster decline.
Really? Yeah. I didn't realize. That's interesting. How does that work?
So science suggests that so as per decade, we lose, I believe, 10% of our muscle mass per 10 years. I believe it's 10%. I can fact check that. But so naturally, if we don't maintain resistance training, we're going to lose muscle naturally as we age. And so with that decline in muscle has a decline in, because what's interesting, like when I was in high school, I would hear people say, hey, for every pound of muscle mass, you burn an extra 50 calories. Then when I went to college, I'm like, yo, that's grossly overestimated.
Right, yeah.
It's like 5 to 8 calories per pound.
Really?
Yeah, but fat
that's
tissue,
lower than I would have thought.
Me too. But fat tissue is like a lot lower than that. It's like 2 to 3 calories per pound.
Per day?
Yeah, per day.
Wow.
So there's a big difference.
Really
but as you can imagine, if you have 50, 60, 70 pounds of muscle, and in 10 years, if you lose, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds of muscle, that's a huge decline. Like if you eat the exact same.
Right. If you ate the same meal every day for that 10 years,
you would naturally gain weight by doing nothing different.
So that's a big reason why people start to get a little chubby over time.
Exactly.
Right. They haven't changed their diet. Maybe they haven't changed their diet. Maybe they have.
Yeah.
But they're just not as active. They have less muscle mass. So regardless of what you're eating, you're still going to have an excess of calories.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of people think like on these discovery calls, I ask, well, hey, what are you doing right now? And the people tell me, well, I'm just eating really healthy. I'm not sure why I'm gaining weight. Here's the thing. When it comes to fat loss, it doesn't matter what you eat. It matters how much you eat of what you eat, right? Because you can have like the cleanest diet in the world, right? And I give this example a lot. If you have person A and person B, and let's say they're both consuming 2,000 calories per day, and they both need 2,000 calories a day to lose 1 pound of weight in a week. Person A is like, let's say they're like just obsessed with healthy eating, right? You get up in the morning, have like Greek yogurt and berries and like some almonds, and let's say at lunchtime they have a nice brown rice and some salmon and an apple,
quinoa for sure.
Yeah, and like they keep this, they eat all these healthy foods, but at the end of the day, let's say they consume 2,000 calories. And again, let's just say that 2,000 calories, when they hit that amount, that would allow them to lose 1 pound in a week. So they would lose that 1 pound in a week. But what people don't realize is that if person B, if let's say they skipped breakfast and had a whole pizza for lunch and came home and had like a cheeseburger and ice cream, but if that person ate nothing but 2,000 calories, they would still lose the same amount of body fat. Now their health values would be drastically different, and their hunger levels as well. But that just goes to show how important it is to control the amount you're eating, and especially when it comes to macronutrient intake as far as protein, because studies show that higher protein diets, they do result in higher levels of lean body mass and less body fat. So that's also an important component of putting together an effective diet for fat loss as well.
So whenever do you have like a general framework that you work with as far as like, here's what you should be eating, or is it, I'm sure it's slightly different for every person, but do you have like a template that you would share with people?
Yeah, so we give our clients a ton of resources, and so we have a meal plan generator, and with a emerging of AI, I can imagine.
I was just gonna say, are you using ChatGPT for this?
Not yet,
dude. I started doing like, here, I'll just show it to you. It's pretty cool, but continue.
Yeah, so we have a meal plan generator called eatthismuch.com. So go check this out if you're listening to this. It allows you to make as many meal plans as you want to, and then we have other meal plans within our app. So that gives them structures and guidelines, and verbally we just tell them like, hey, you follow the 80-20 rule. Like, allow most of your calories to come from nutrient dense foods, and if you're gonna have 20% come from like fun foods, like I love pancakes, and so like I would crush some pancakes.
Just made some pancakes this weekend for Caitlin for Mother's Day.
What?
That's my once a year thing. I love them too, but dude, I'm out. Like, oh my gosh, as soon as I eat pancakes, it's nap time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it a carb?
I don't know. I'm out. Probably the syrup.
Oh,
would be my guess. Like, yeah, I don't know. But I use ChatGPT. This I don't know if you would use this, but anybody can use ChatGPT. Basically, I told it it's a personal trainer and needs to act like that using its knowledge of exercise science, nutrition, lifestyle habits, So I said, give me whatever, and then somewhere down here where we're at. So what I did was
I hate tofu. So you can tell what
yeah. So I said, okay, I'm your client, Jeremy, 6'1", 195, 12% body fat. I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle and lose 2% body fat over the next however long it takes. And also tell me how long it will take. So, and now I need you to create a muscle building program and a meal plan for me that can help me achieve these goals.
What?
And so it gives me meals for like 5 straight days.
Okay.
And then one of them was like tofu. I'm like, I hate tofu. And so it gives me a completely new one with no tofu. But anyway, check this out. Like, it's incredible.
I love this, man. I love how each snack that's 20 grams of protein. That's exactly what I tell my clients. So my goal for them for every snack, every meal, have at least 20 grams of protein, because we need a certain amount of protein each meal and snack to maximize the muscle building response. And so too many times I see a lot of people have like a string cheese and like an apple. Like, that's not really an effective meal. So I love
that's so funny.
So
Caitlin yesterday was like, why don't you use cheese stick? I'm like, that's not protein.
Yeah.
Not for me. That's not enough.
It's only about 7 grams.
But yeah, I mean, so our goal, what we're trying to like toy around with here, is we want to create like an AI health coach.
That'd be insane.
And with the new plugins that are coming out for ChatGPT, you can say, hey, I need a meal plan for this week for these goals, these macros, order from Instacart.
That is it.
And so there's a plugin for Instacart that can just order, like you just tell AI to order your whatever you need to get your macros for the week.
Really?
It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's part of our goal, kind of what we're building, but
that is so cool. So
it'll take a while to get there.
Have you started on your meal plan yet? And you're like, your weight training?
No. I'm not going to. I'm in love with my few things that I eat. I'll branch out a little bit, but I eat a lot of steak, a lot of fruit, carrots, and then we have like a different dinner every night. But my daytime is pretty much the same. Like, in general, I'll have a giant carrot. I'll have.
Wait! You gotta tell me about this.
I opened a can of worms here.
So tell me why. Why do you have a giant carrot?
Because it's delicious.
But what about the carrot makes you want to have it every single night? Because I think
So I've
pancakes
heard.
are delicious. But I don't have them every single night.
So I've heard there's something in a carrot that helps with thyroid function. Look at you laughing at me like this guy's an idiot. Well, Carnivore Aurelius said it, so I believe him. So I have a giant carrot. I'll have a lot of frozen fruit. I'll have a steak, and then depending on like what I do for my workouts, I'll have like an extra like side of carbs,
Okay.
and then for dinner it's just something different every night. But
That's fantastic.
yeah, it's I'd say we like 80% really
Okay.
well, and then I have a gnarly sweet tooth,
Mm.
uncontrollable. I've seen specialists for it. No, I'm not. That's a joke. Bad one too. I'm on fire with those today. Anyway, yeah. So I'm just like I eat steak all the time and a lot of frozen fruits.
So I have a question for you. Am I allowed to ask questions on this?
Of course.
When's the next time you're doing 75 hard? And what advice would you give to someone?
Man, I was thinking about this the other day with you specifically. So I might do it right after 4th of July.
Okay.
4th of July is my favorite holiday.
Yep.
So I'm going to do yard work all day, and I'm going to drink shitty beer. It's usually Bud Light. I'm not going to have that conversation right now. But shitty beer, just wear some American clothes all day, get my hands dirty, and thank God I live here. But after that, I don't know. Maybe shortly after, I was just telling Caitlin literally 2 days ago. I was like, I haven't done 75 hard in over a year. That's the longest I've gone since I started doing it a few years ago. But yeah, I want to. I got the itch again.
Bro, I saw when you sent me your transformation after your last one, that was like you put on like 10 pounds of muscle mass and lost like 15 pounds. Like you absolutely transformed your physique.
Yeah, I didn't end up losing like that much body fat. I think I got down to 10%, but I'm typically like right around 12. But the physique change was definitely noticeable. But the first time I did it, like it was like right after Roman was born, and we were in the hospital every day, all day. And so for like a month and a half straight, like I didn't do any kind of exercise. I was just at the hospital. And so that transformation looks like ridiculous because I go from this little string bean that hadn't worked out in forever and eating shitty hospital food to like in shape and kind of jacked, handsome, of course, tan, smart, humble, all that stuff. But yeah, the first transformation was pretty big.
So what advice would you give to someone if they're looking to like for a guy and they're wanting to lose body fat, gain muscle mass, and they're like, hey, I would love to, think about doing 75 hard. Like what advice would you give them?
I underfed myself for sure the first time. Like I wrecked my testosterone levels because I was, you're doing 2-a-days every day. I wasn't getting enough sleep. So I'm taxing my body on the activity side, and I'm not making up for it with sleep, and I'm under eating. So that was the second time that I did it. I think was like I definitely underfed myself or under recovered. Now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser, definitely prioritizing sleep more and definitely getting enough carbs. So I would play basketball, burn like 800 calories, and work out later.
Oh man!
And I did that for 75 days.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So I was like, I was jacked, but I was so tired.
Yeah.
But at the same time, whenever you do 75 hard, like mentally, you're so on point that it doesn't matter if you're tired. It just whatever. I still got to do my stuff.
Like, what day do you get to that you feel that way?
I'd say the first 7 days are like, as far as the adjustment period, like the first 7 days, you're sore, really sore. I work out every day, like already, or get some sort of exercise.
Yeah.
But when you're doing 2-a-days, it's like it's a lot. So you break through that first 7 days, then you get through the first month, and don't fall into the trap of saying, okay, I get it. Like I understand what 75, I don't have to finish, because that's like the first like really big hump. Okay, I did a month. That's good enough. But then after that, like you enter God mode, and it's just like you just take on the world.
Really? That's insane.
I did like the 3 phases after 75 hard.
Did you really?
Yeah. And after I finished phase 3, it's like if I did this every day, there's no chance I wouldn't be a billionaire.
So
chance.
Wait, there was no chance that I
wouldn't become a billionaire.
So
like, I was just never been that dialed in.
What was phase 3?
So it's 75 hard plus like 4 extra things you have to do, including talking to a stranger every day,
Wow.
doing a deed of an active service for a stranger every day, and you do that for 30 days. On top of you have to do your power list, which is five tasks they have to do. So I was doing 5 tasks for work every day. I was doing all the 75 hard stuff every day. I was just like,
Bro, that is insane.
it was amazing. But that was, I mean, it's not, it might be sustainable, but I wasn't there yet for that to be sustainable.
Mm.
You got to be a hard ass to do that for sure.
If you don't mind me asking, what parts of your life had to take a back seat because of, like, was your business affected from 75?
Positively,
Really?
massively,
That's my biggest concern, man. Like,
massively. Oh yeah.
oh man.
It's because like whenever you enter that mindset of discipline of keeping promises that you make to yourself, like you say something, you do it. There's no questions. There's nothing to talk about, right? You say something, you do it. And so that translates you when your mind is in that place, it just translates to every area of your life. I don't feel like it affected anything negatively.
This is so interesting that you're saying this, because I was on the phone with my mentor the other day. So I hear David Goggins and Jocko Willink. They say something I'm like, I don't understand. I'm obviously way below them, but they keep saying something. And even if I'm allowed to say his name, Andrew Tate, right? He says this too. That's is like you do what you have to do regardless of how you feel.
Yes.
And like you just keep doing it. And so I'm at this point in life where like I guess I'm just too soft. Where like I get really tired, like 10 p.m. at nighttime, I'm still working. I'm like, I've got to go to bed.
Yeah.
But like these guys are just like, I keep going until I'm done.
Right.
And that's such a hard. So are you saying if I were to go through that 75 hard, that I'll develop a mindset where I keep saying yes until I do what I have to do for the day?
Guaranteed. If you do it right. I mean, so like a lot of people will say, like, if you go on like the 75 hard hashtag and you look at the pictures, you can see who's really done it versus people that kind of did it. You can see who's really done it by the look in their eye. Like you truly can just tell because it's intense, and you can tell that they have changed, not just physically, but mentally they have changed. Spiritually, they have changed.
Really?
Truly.
Wow. So on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being like, you're never going to do it, and 10 being like, you're dead set when July 5th comes, you're going to do it, how likely are you to say yes to 75 hard on July 5th?
I'm just as likely as you.
Ooh, man, you actually got me pretty excited to think more about this.
If you do it, I'll do it with you 100%.
My only concern, and this is maybe my own negative mindset thinking, is like it would take time away from my business, like my work.
How much time do you spend working out now?
So I work out 5 days a week for 45 minutes.
Okay. So can you take any calls on a walk?
I feel I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a big one. Is just like you can throw on a weight vest and go on a walk. Like that's what I do. Or you can go on like a really brisk walk. That's what I do. So like I'll do my workout in the morning, and then at night, whenever I'm done with all my other stuff, I will go on my 45-minute walk at a brisk pace, listen to an audiobook, and just decompress.
Okay.
And that's like my form of meditation. So I don't know how much time you spend meditating, if any. But that's kind of my walking meditation, and I'm telling you right now, like it might feel like it in the beginning because you'll be super focused on how much you have to do. But once you get into the rhythm of 75 hard, it's just a framework for your day, and you just build your day around it. It's so like you don't lose anything.
Okay.
The hardest part for a lot of people is the water.
Okay.
I don't know do you drink a lot of water?
Oh, all the time. So
Yeah.
I think my hardest thing would be, and I think it would actually help me too, because I sit down all day long.
Let's frame this real quick. So 75 hard, for people that don't know, if you haven't heard, been living under a rock, 75 straight days, 2 workouts every single day. 1 has to be outside, whether rain, storm, hurricane, whatever, snow. So many snow walks are great. Then you have to read 10 pages of a personal development book. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to take a progress picture every day. And what's the last one? Oh, no alcohol, no cheat meals. Yeah. 75 straight days. If you miss one thing on any day, you start over. I failed on day like 24 one time.
Really?
Oh, because I forgot to take a picture. I was
Oh,
pissed
dang.
because you work so hard and then you got to start over. But yeah, I can't suggest it enough. I like if you want to take your and another thing that sticks with you. Sorry if I'm going off on this tangent.
No, this is good.
This changed my life like in a massive, massive way. Once you realize or once you get through the program, you realize like discipline is just like any other muscle. You can work it and it gets stronger, right? And let's say slowly over time your discipline starts to fade. You start to get a little lax. You don't do that last thing on your list for the day. You go to bed instead. You know that you can just turn it back on. Like I know that if I'm getting a little sloppy in my work, if I do 75 hard, I'll be back on top in my peak form within like 5 days.
Wow.
You gotta do it, man. You gotta do it. We don't have to commit on the show. Don't worry about it.
Well, I will think about it. I think I do need. So I'm in a fat loss phase right now. Started on Monday.
Okay.
And I have 8 weeks, at least 8 weeks in this phase to lose 6 pounds. I could probably lose more than that, but I can only see this helping me lose more body fat. And plus, like one thing is, I mean, I have a little garage gym, so I don't have any excuse not to work out every day.
Dude, I love your garage gym.
Oh, dude, come! Hey, you've been there before. Come work out with me again sometime. Love to have you again.
I will. We'll take our shirts off for Lark across the street.
Yeah.
Every time he texts me, hey, your friend's across the street working out without a shirt again. You need to tell him to stop that.
Oh, I love Lark.
He's the best.
But I think one thing I struggle with is like once I get into, and that's a big reason why when I start most mornings, kind of going back to the original like topic, like if I say yes to getting up at like 5 a.m., like I have no issue getting up at 5 a.m. every morning. But there's times I say no to it. My whole day is like constantly like I doubt my decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as motivated. And I've learned that the closer I am to doing all the tasks I need to in the morning, the more likely I am to carry that momentum forward to complete everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had some that I like how you said the framework. It gives you a framework for the day.
Yeah.
That would greatly benefit me because there's 3 times in my day where I'm like, hey, nobody's like, I'm not gonna lie. I stay at home. So I don't have any pets, no wife, no girlfriend. No one sees whether or not I do all my tasks or not. And so this would really help me stay consistent to the promises I make to myself, which
Mm-hmm.
I think would greatly benefit me. So thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah, like I said, the framework thing is big for me because I can get kind of spontaneous is like a romantic version of what I would be. I can just like I have my list, but I will. So inconsistent would be probably the way to go. Not inconsistent in doing my stuff, but inconsistent in doing my stuff at the same time of day, where I really get the most out of whatever I'm like, whatever work I'm doing. If I had more structure there, then I'd perform better.
Wow.
I don't like structure, but it seems to benefit me, and that gives me that structure to build around.
So let me ask you this: let's say if you did 75 hard on July 5th. So July, August, September.
I don't even know what date that would be, or day of the week that would be. Let's see, dead space. So I'd probably start on like the 10th. I like start on Mondays.
Perfect. Okay. How do you think your businesses would change by the end of the year if you did that throughout those months?
I don't know. I'm pretty good about keeping up on my business, but I think it would certainly improve. Like, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I don't have like too many concerns on that, but I would say that my goals would probably get bigger. That'd probably be the biggest one, because the biggest thing that 75 hard does is it just builds confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And confidence just comes from doing what we say we're going to do. You do that perfectly for 75 days, you have a completely different mindset on how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
So once you have more confidence, your goals get bigger, and it's kind of like a good snowball effect. So probably the goals would get bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my answer to that.
That'd be exciting, man. Well, let's definitely keep chatting about this. And I know that Dr. Jordan Burns, that we chat about this. I think he does it around the summertime as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this would be a great way for us to get connected and grow closer together throughout, I know that we kind of like spread apart a little bit, but we'd love to, talk with him more as well.
Yeah. I would like to see like a group of people do it together. I mean, because you get a bunch of people focused on kind of the same thing that want like working together towards something. Like everyone's doing it by themselves, but they also like have a team
Yes.
right behind them.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get stuff done.
Especially being held accountable towards, like, even when I died down, when I did a show in 2016, I hired my own coach because I'm not sure like how to like I kind of want my mind out of it and not be focused on it. But when you know someone is checking up on you and like, hey man, I'm gonna do this, you're more likely to do it as well. So having a group text or something would be very helpful, I think.
Yeah, we have this feature on our site where we can create groups. I've been thinking about using that for like putting together 75 hard group where we could do it like publicly. People could join our group to do 75 hard. I don't know.
Very
we'll
cool.
see.
I love that.
75 hard is pretty intense. A lot of people in the fitness community are like, oh, that's too much. It's not a good thing. And it truly is. Like, it's overkill for your body. But it's not a fitness program. It's a mental program, period. Like, yes, you do fitness stuff, but it's for the mental, period. And so we'll probably get a lot of blowback if we do say, hey, let's do this together. It will change people's lives, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. Man, I'm excited. Thank you for bringing this up because one thing I've been scared to do, and one thing in my life is like every time I sense fear or fear, I gotta understand what it is, because sometimes I feel like, I feel like God sometimes, for us to move on the path He's given us, I feel like we have to move in the path of where we're most afraid, because I feel like the enemy likes to keep us safe and comfortable and soft, and like, man, to break it, but we got to break out these chains, man, to be the man that God has made us to be. And so thank you for sharing it with me.
Yeah. So I mentioned I read Proverbs a lot, and one of my favorite ones, I read this right before I took some mushrooms a couple months ago, and it was, the wicked flees, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. And I went into my trip right after reading that, and that was good. But I love that. It's just like what you're saying. Like, we're called to be brave and courageous and go out and do what we need to do, and we're not called to be comfortable. Like, isn't that the parable of the sowing of the seeds? Right? You don't do anything with what the master gave you.
Yeah, and they get taken from you.
Yeah. But that's bravery. But yeah, I try and preach that to my kids. Like, you have to be brave and do hard things.
Yeah.
And that's, taking the leap and doing something, or admitting that you need help.
Absolutely.
Like, that you need a coach to get you somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about like what you can teach us as far as like how we can master our diets. So I've recently heard like eating too much fruit in the morning. Now, I know you're not like strict, like one thing, like you're not go keto, go this. You're not like that. You're more like flexible, balanced eating, right? You're phasic, right?
Yeah, or flexible dieting with a phasic approach.
Okay. Phasic meaning like cutting, fat loss.
Yes.
Building what?
It could, yeah. So with phasic dieting is essentially just a sequence of dieting phases that helps the dieters focus on one goal at a time and get back to intuitive eating. So with like fat loss, with like a fat loss journey, and like in the past, I thought a fat loss journey was just a fat loss phase, right? But then I learned really quickly, because dieting decreases your metabolism. If we don't take time to re-increase our metabolic rate, we'll be stuck at a lower weight, eating a lower calorie intake, and we're going to increase the likelihood of us regaining the weight because we're not taking time to increase our calories. And so the 4 phases of dieting that we have are: number 1, fat loss, the goal to lose body fat, maintain muscle mass. The second phase is what we call the metabolic reset phase, which works to re-increase. People call it reverse dieting. Like, I don't care what you call it, just do it, right? That's so. And I even said this: you can have the most effective fat loss diet in the world, but if you don't take time to re-increase your calories after diet, you've wasted your time.
Really?
Yes. And I even believe now that you can do the most insane, like stupidest diet in the world, but if you master the metabolic reset phase, you'll be successful.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, because there's only one thing that all diets do, right? Through losing weight, it causes your metabolism to slow down. So whether or not you do it aggressively, stupidly, it doesn't matter. Because the main goal after you lose weight is to get your metabolism back up. Because what most people do after they lose 20 or 30 pounds is to do one of two things. They either go back to how they were eating,
Okay.
right? And over time, they'll regain weight. Or and this is what most people does. Let's say they lose 20, 30 pounds and they get really excited. Oh my goodness, I lost 30 pounds. And so they don't really know what to do next. And so
Right.
what happens is they maintain their current calorie intake. And like, and you're motivated too. Like, hey, I'm excited. I lost 20 pounds. I look good. I feel good. I'm tracking all these people. And it's kind of like when you buy a really expensive car. The first 3 to 5 payments you pay, like, oh man, this is absolutely worth it. Yeah, dude. And then like payment 20 comes, or like week 20 comes, and like, man, this is really hard. I can't go out with my friends and have these drinks, or can't. My calorie level is so low. I just can't. My cravings are just too high. And so what happens is, let's say they go to like a party one weekend, they have some salty foods, they overeat, wake up the next day, the scale says they weigh 3 pounds higher. Well, they see that as fat gain. They get frustrated. Like, oh man, I gained all this fat. Then they go on like a huge binge, right? And next thing you know, they've gained weight. And so that's why it's very important to re-increase your metabolism very slowly and strategically. Like, for example, once you finish your diet, and we have a very data-driven process. So it's not the same approach for everyone. On some clients, we may increase 400 calories. On other clients, we may increase 100 calories. It all depends on how much. It depends on your weekly average weight loss the last 2 weeks, because everything is data-driven.
Okay.
For example,
I like that.
So we look at weight changes week to week. We have an Excel sheet that our coaches have, and all of our clients are in an app, but we take their data in an app because this app doesn't calculate averages yet. And we put it on an Excel sheet. So we have this row that calculates their weight. So each week there's an average to the weight. And next to the average is a change, like a negative 1.0. And so for the last 2 weeks of their fat loss phase, let's say the two changes are negative 0.5 and negative 0.5, just to keep it simple. So let's say they're
negative 0.5 pounds or percent?
I'm sorry. Yeah, pounds.
Okay.
So on average, they lost a half a pound per week for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And let's say they're eating 1,700 calories. Their average calorie intake was 1,700 calories. Okay. So that means to get them back up to their new maintenance, we have to increase by 250 calories a day, right? Because we know that to be if you lose a pound per week, your daily calorie deficit is 500 calories.
Okay. And
by half a pound, it's half that. And so that gets to their new maintenance by increasing by 1,700 to 1,950. And that's what's really cool too, is that most clients, like 90%, they see a drop in their weight after eating 200 more calories a day. And the reason for that is because dieting is a stressor, like 75, huge stressor, right? And so whenever we increase calories, especially through carbohydrates, that causes a decrease in cortisol levels. And when that hormone drops, there's also a drop in water retention.
Right.
So they get excited. So and that's really important too, because a lot of people think you eat more, you gain weight.
So cortisol is related to, or it holds water more?
Yeah, there's one of its side effects is it does have a water retentive side effect to it. So when you're really stressed out, when you don't get a lot of sleep, when your life is like really on you, like your body just tends to hold a little bit more water. Even through like weight training, when you're inflamed, your body tends to hold on to water around that muscle for recovery purposes.
Right.
And so, so right away they see weight drop and they love it. Like, okay, cool. I'm not actually gaining weight. And so
it went up and it's not making sense, but I like it.
Yeah. Right. And so then after that, we just look at their weight on every 7 to 10 days. If they maintain their weight, we would increase by 75 calories. If they lost weight, we do the math again. If they're down negative 0.2 pounds, we increase by 100 calories.
So you're consistently adjusting.
Yes. Just because the body adapts in the fat loss phase, just like as the body would adapt in the fat loss phase, the body would adapt just like that. And think about it like this too. When you give your body more carbohydrates, more calories, you're going to be more apt to be more active. You're going to move more. You're going to build more muscle mass. So naturally, you're burning more calories while you're eating more. So you're revving up this metabolism with a higher engine because you're putting on more muscle mass. You having better performances. So anyway, after that phase, and typically that phase is half the time that you spent dieting.
Okay.
For example, if you diet for 12 weeks,
you would do a 6-week ramp up.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. And then you go into a maintenance phase. The maintenance phase is exactly what it sounds. Your goal is to maintain your current calorie intake, maintain your lower step count, because all throughout the metabolic reset phase, you're also bringing down cardio and steps to move more towards a lifestyle approach. And so you're maintaining calorie intake, your cardio intake or step intake or steps, and your body weight. Because you have to now tell your body that you're safe and that you're no longer gonna die, right? Or like there's no threat to your survival. Because in like survival in like ancestral times, when your body will pull you to where it feels most comfortable, right? And so like if you had lost a lot of weight, your body's like, wow, there's a threat to my survival.
Right.
And what will happen is it will cause you to be hungry and increase cravings, and it'll make you like stop moving more, right? So essentially, it would make you eat more calories so you can stay alive. But the thing about this phase is that you will drop 20 pounds, maybe 5 to 8% body fat. But because there's a higher influx of calories coming in, though your body fat level is low, the amount of calories is telling your hunger hormones, hey, listen, even though we're really low on body fat stores, because our bodies love to store body fat because that means we have a higher chance of survival if we don't get that buffalo, every 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it says, okay, body fat's low, but we have plenty of calories coming in. So what happens next? Hunger and cravings go down. And then, so that is the perfect time to now then transition into intuitive eating. Because if you go and we made a big mistake like 5 years ago. We'd go fat loss to intuitive eating. That was like, that's a nightmare.
And that sounds like a recipe for overeating.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your hunger hormones and cravings aren't normal at that time. And so we learned that was a big mistake. We've messed up so many times. We're still messing up, but we have a lot fewer errors now. But anyway, so that's the basic dieting model that we use. But we use a flexible approach in which you can really choose any foods you want to, as long as you're like eating mostly healthy foods. And that's the focus that we have at Tandem, is a balanced type approach.
So you're changing this calorie rate, what you said, every other week?
It could be. Depends on. So what I've noticed through experiences.
Well, the question is how quickly does your metabolism change? Does it change every day based on the inputs that you put? Like fluctuate slightly. Obviously, it's not going to be the exact same every day, right?
Right there. So activity level will determine how many. Activity level is the biggest factor that determines how many calories you burn each day.
Okay.
But I've never done enough research or I don't have enough experience to know exactly the magnitude of metabolism change over a day-to-day basis. But I know that with weight change and calorie increases, it does change. The effect of that is it's dependent upon calorie intake and like muscle. But I know that with our clients, we make adjustments every 7 to 10 days, up to every 14 days. Mm-hmm. And as they get further and further closer to their normal intake before dieting, like for example, if you came to us and like, let's say right now you're eating 2,500 calories, and let's say we diet you down to like 1,800, and you go throughout a metabolic reset phase, we know when we get close to 2,500 again, we probably wouldn't make as many changes because that's your normal intake.
Okay. Yeah. That's fascinating.
It's really cool, man.
That's cool that you have it kind of mapped out and you have like these levers, like we were talking about earlier, like you pull this one to get these changes and you know what changes you're going to get based on where they're at in the phasic diet.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, where can we find you, man?
Yeah, man. So I'm on Instagram at Tandem Nutrition and also Facebook as well at Garrett Surd. We also have a really cool, at least I think it's cool, a podcast called the Tandem Talk Show as well. So we'll love to have you on sometime.
I don't know how much value I'll bring, but I'll come.
Bro, you have so much knowledge I'd love to share with our audience.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll be happy to. Ladies and gentlemen, Garrett Surd, thanks for listening to the IFMPod. This is episode number 4. Please share, please subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bro, great job, man. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on today.